Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. If you think things have quieted down on Ivy League campuses in the wake of the firing of Liz McGill at Penn or the controversy surrounding Claudine Gay at Harvard, even though she survived so far, here's what's happening on the campus of Columbia University. Students, probably faculty, probably administrators in the hundreds. Yeah, it's a very celebratory atmosphere for pro-Hamas Ivy Leaguers. And certainly Claudine Gay surviving and staying as Harvard president, that's not going to change that much. I mean, basically, they had lost control of these campuses long ago. It's just now, after the terrorist attack by Hamas on October 7th, you're getting reaction from billionaire donors, and then obviously the catastrophic testimony from these university presidents last week, and so forth. But the nature of these institutions, and whether or not anything can be done to significantly change the culture on campus in America. Why don't we start there with our friend Bill O'Reilly, because he had some choice words in the direction of Claudine Gay that I saw the other day. Bill O'Reilly, of course, is the host of No Spin News, weeknights 5 p.m. Chicago time at BillO'Reilly.com. He's also the author, of course, the best-selling killing series, the latest being Killing the Witches, The Horror of Salem, Massachusetts, and perfect holiday gift, perfect stocking stuffer for the ones you love if you haven't already picked it up. Killing the Witches, The Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. That's the latest in Bill O'Reilly's killing series. Bill, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Dan, thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
Good. You basically asked, somewhat rhetorically, but then provided an explanation, what's the difference between Claudine Gay and a neo-Nazi?
Well, my analysis was that if neo-Nazis on any college campus, not only Harvard, threatened Jewish people, they'd be arrested. All right, so there are in America people who adhere to a fascist philosophy, and they've been labeled neo-Nazis. So if there's a club, the Third Reich Club or whatever, could never exist, but the analysis still holds, that Ms. Gay and all the other college presidents would forcibly shut it down and expel the students, and they might even be arrested for hate crimes. But if they are Palestinians or progressive Americans who sympathize with Hamas, which many of them do, shockingly, then it's okay. So how do you explain that? How do you justify that? Can anybody justify it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why do you think she got to stay and the other president got kicked out?
Well, that's complicated. I'm a Harvard alumnus, as you guys may know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't want to bring that up. I didn't want to embarrass you.
No, I'm proud of it, and I know some of the alums have disowned the college. I haven't done that. My experience in the mid-1990s was excellent. I learned a lot, and I met a lot of good people. But for the past 20 years, like a lot of other institutions, not only academics, it has been controlled by progressive far-left people, of which President Gay is one. And they worship at the altar of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. What that means is if you are white, we don't really like you very much. That's what that means. And I can back that up by enrollment stats and college acceptance stats have plummeted for white males in all of these institutions.
Right.
And that's why they want to get rid of the SATs. They want to get rid of standards of in high school of any kind of academic proficiency. or they just want to admit the people that they sympathize with.
Yeah, but
That's
isn't that also why Liz McGill can be taken out and Larry Summers can be taken out at Harvard for things that were much less offensive than what Claudine Gay offered in that House committee, before that House committee, but Miss Gay cannot. I mean, she's a black female and she's untouchable.
correct. At Harvard.
At
In
Harvard.
some other places, she might have some problems. So the progressives who control Harvard, and these are the board of trustees, in the department heads, 97% of the professors at Harvard, the people who teach there, are self-described liberals. So this is a monolithic move, all right? And there's no dissent. If you dissent, you don't work there. You don't. So they protect her. They're protecting her. But here's the story. I'm going to advance the story, okay? This is the turning point in America for the progressive movement. No longer are they going to get a free pass. And the media is trying. The media is trying to give them a free pass because they've given them a free pass for 2 decades. It's impossible now. When you throw in with killers, and you guys will remember I wrote the book Killing the Killers, which are terrorist groups, of which Hamas is one of the most powerful now, when you side with them by saying, oh, there should be a ceasefire. Well, wait a minute. If there's a ceasefire, then Hamas is going to come back and do it again. They say they will do that.
Right. They're bragging about
I
it.
don't want you to believe them. So anybody who says, got to be a ceasefire, they're siding with Hamas, the killers. Now, I submit to you that even though we live in a screwed-up country right now, most Americans are rejecting that. And just like Black Lives Matter, it's the same thing. Once Black Lives Matter started using the $100 million in donations they received after George Floyd to buy lavish real estate for themselves, once they did that, it was over for them in the mainstream. The same thing is going to happen with the progressive movement in America.
That's an interesting theory. I'm not quite so optimistic. Let me tell you why I'm not. Let me see if you buy this comparison. Christopher Wray and Claudine Gay are basically the same person. In other words, Christopher Wray could go be the president of Harvard, and Claudine Gay could go direct the FBI, and those institutions wouldn't change at all, and pretty much nobody would know the difference. Because they're just part of a club that transcends their identity, ironically enough, white, male, Republican, black, female, Democrat, but both Ivy League educated and so on and so forth. They're part of the managerial elite that are in control of all of America's cultural, civic, and educational institutions. And so I think it's going to be a lot more difficult to dig those cultures out, root and branch, from those institutions than just making personnel changes.
Well, we'll know next November, won't we?
We will. Yes, we will. Speaking of, but I mean, do you have that concern about a pervasive managerial elite? I mean, Michael Lind at University of Texas has written eloquently about this. Joel Kotkin has as well.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're going. I don't see Gay and Wray as similar. Wray is a basic bureaucrat who's looking out for himself. If the prevailing winds were conservative, Wray would be conservative. Gay is hardcore. That's the difference, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Although it's interesting, too, that just to show you how entrenched this ideology is, I mean, Gay has another problem, in addition to her testimony, that Liz McGill didn't have, which is credible accusations of plagiarism coming from academics on the left and right. Carol Swain, as well as Ann Williamson from University of Miami, Ohio, poli-sci professor there. She said that, told the New York Post she was angry when she read the excerpts of Gay's work. It does look like plagiarism to me. So now you don't even have to abide any sort of academic integrity standards if you have the right intersectional score.
Yeah, I mean, nobody cares about this in academia anymore. I mean, Joe Biden was one of the most prolific plagiarist ever. I mean, the guy was
yes.
cribbing,
Just ask Neil
entire
Kinnock.
speeches,
Yeah, right.
and nobody cared. And yeah, you can theorize that at Harvard, a premier college in the world, academics. But Harvard's an interesting place. Did you guys know the first president of Harvard in the mid 17th century was the chief witch hunter of Salem, Increase Mather? The guy responsible for executing, partially responsible for executing 20 human beings, was the first president of Harvard. So the school has always had, let's say, a flamboyant history.
Generous.
And when I go to Cambridge, I was there about 2 months ago, terrorizing the people at the Kennedy School.
They call security on you?
Security loves me.
Oh, good.
Anybody who's in a position to enforce protections loves me.
You're right. You're full employment. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. So they can call security all day long, and they go, "Yeah, we'll be there in 10 minutes." But if it's O'Reilly, So anyway, the problem, though, you're right, Dan. I mean, I like your analysis. You're thinking about this in the right way. We're starting to, as a country, to embrace things we've never embraced before, and things that go directly against our Constitution. Now, President Gay is entitled to due process, and that's why I wrote Killing the Witches, because there was no due process in 1692. If some 12-year-old girl pointed and said, you tried to make me sign the devil's book, you had a rope around your neck in 10 days. Well, now you don't have due process either. And I believe in that, and Gay denies it. But the overwhelming evidence, and Amy pointed it out rightly, is that she did crib. But believe me when I tell you, they couldn't care less up there about that.
Oh, I believe you. No, I definitely believe you. What was your? We were talking about it just before you joined us. What was your assessment of Biden's performance yesterday with Zelensky, and also taking the occasion to be critical of Israel at the same time?
Right after you hang up from me, I want you to read my message on BillO'Reilly.com. Anybody can do it, and I hope people will go there every morning and read it. So Biden, this is the scandal yesterday. Obviously, it was a weak press conference, and nobody learned anything. He read the answers to the question from Reuters. You can see it. I'm going to use it on TV tonight on the No Spin News.
Oh, yeah. I
So
mean,
the guy
clearly
from
he got
Reuters-
all the questions ahead of time, obviously.
Yeah, and that's corrupt.
Right.
Journalists never did that before.
Never.
I mean, I shouldn't say never, but if they did it, it was, on the sly. Okay, but now the guy from Reuters stands up, Trevor, and reads the question, and Biden immediately, the head goes down, doesn't even look at Trevor, and reads the answer off the sheet.
Yeah.
What the deuce is that?
Hey, Bill, I know. Hey, do you think he's going to make it to 2024, to the election?
No, we talked about this last time I was on. I don't think he's going to make it. I think the Hunter thing is going to get worse and worse and worse. And he obviously is having trouble in physical and mental areas. And I think, but I was wrong. I thought he would be out now. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's so bad, second worst president in our history. But he's hanging tough. But I do not see him, but I could be wrong.
Bill O'Reilly is the host of No Spin News, weeknights 5 p.m. Chicago time at BillO'Reilly.com. And again, pick up his latest in the Killing series for the holidays. Nice gift. Killing the Witches, the Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. Bill, thank you as always.
Listen, guys, thanks for having me. And one last plug, get all 13 Killing books in a bundle on BillO'Reilly.com for Christmas. All of them together. Best-selling nonfiction book series of all time. So I hope people think about it. Thanks for having me. I hope we can talk again soon.
All right. Thank you so much. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank.